Hello everyone, if you want to learn how to read from a file using Java or how to write to a file using Java, then this video is made for you. But before we start, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Let's start. So to read from a file using Java, what you need to do, you need to create a scanner object. How you can create a scanner object? By giving the path of the file that you are going to read. And how you can get that path? You can use this paths.get method, which will take in the input the relative path of the file corresponding to a directory. And how you can get that directory, we will see in the next slide. So the first argument is the path, and the second optional parameter is encoding, which in our examples we are going to give as UTF-8, although it's a optional argument, but it is an important one, and it is a good practice to not to omit that. What is this character encoding and what is this UTF-8? We are going to study in one of our later videos, but for now, just understand if you want to read a text file in Java, you have to create a scanner object. How you can create a scanner object? By giving a path and an optional parameter of encoding. How you can get a path? By this paths.get method, which will accept an argument the relative path of the file corresponding to a directory. Now, if that file is not present, and this when you create this scanner object, it will give you a IO exception. So you have to handle that. You can handle either with enclosing that code with try catch. We have not studied try catch yet, so don't get confused. Of course, we are going to cover it later, but you can also add throws IO exception in the method signature. We are going to see this in the practical session. Once you have created that scanner object, then you can use all sort of scanner methods that we have studied in one of our previous videos. I'm going to provide the link in the description. Now to get the directory corresponding to which the relative path of the file has to be used, if you're using an IDE like IntelliJ or Eclipse, then you can simply use system.getProperty which will give you the folder path relative to which the path of the file has to be used. But if you're running the code using a command shell, then that directory is the directory from where you are running that command shell. So corresponding to that directory, you have to use the path. Now, how you can write to a file? For writing to a file, you have to create a PrintWriter object, and that will again accept two arguments. One is the file name to which you want to write some data, and the second optional parameter again here is encoding. Now, once you have created this PrintWriter object by giving a file name, if the file does not exist, then this will not give you an IO exception. A new file will be created. And if the file exists, then the data will be appended in that file. So once you have created this PrintWriter object, then you can use these methods like print, println, and printf. For printf, also I have created a video for that. Also, I'm going to give the link in the description. But once you have used this method, remember to close this PrintWriter object, so that will commit your changes into that file. So this finishes the theory part of this tutorial. Let's move to the practical session. Now let's start with the practical for reading a file using Java or writing to a file using Java. And for that, I'm going to create a class, say Java IO. And there I'm going to add a main method. Now first I'm going to create a scanner object, because to read a file I need a scanner object. I'll press Alt Enter to import that class. And how we can create the scanner object? By giving two arguments. First argument is the paths. Now to get the path, I'll just give paths.get, and for now I'm going to give a random.txt. This file does not exist for now. Now you could see that this underline this scanner, you can see this red, it is highlighted as red. Why? Because this scanner constructor, it throws an IO exception. Now you have two ways to handle this exception. Either enclose this code within try catch block, which we have not studied yet, but we are going to cover in our later videos, or you can simply declare this in the method definition. So what I'm going to do, I can just add exception to method signature. Now this red line has been gone. So what does it indicate? That this line of code or this method can throw an IO exception. Now I've created a scanner object and I have given the first argument as path. As I said, that the second argument, which is the encoding, that is not mandatory, but it is a good practice that you give it. So I'll give it as UTF-8. Now this file does not exist. If I run this code, this scanner object will throw me an exception. Why? Because that file does not exist, and it will throw me a no such file exception, which is a type of IO exception. So let us run this code. It's building. And you can see no such file exception because that file is not present anywhere. Now, as I said that this is the relative path corresponding to a directory, and in an IDE like IntelliJ or Eclipse, how you can get that directory, you can simply get, first I'm just going to use a print statement, and how you can get by system dot get property, and then you can give us user dot dir. So let's just comment this line, otherwise it will give us an exception, and then let's see what is the value of this user dot dir. So I'm just building this code, and you can see that its value is C quotation quotation, which is this folder only. Now, if you place the file in this folder only, then there's no relative path. You can just give the file name. So what I mean is, like, if in this folder I create a file, let me create a file. Let me say as random.txt. I created a file, and here I can give, let me say that this is the first line. So I created this file, I just save it, and then I put it, this is the first line. Now if I remove this, in this first argument I'm giving random.txt. Why? Because random.txt is present in this folder only, corresponding to which relative path is given. So you can just give the file name. Now you will not get this exception. And if I'll just comment this, the second line. Now, if I run this line, there will not be anything because we are not printing anything, and it will not give us an exception. So it is just building, and you don't see anything. So process finished with exit code 0, you don't see an exception. Now, once you have created this scanner object, what you can do, you can use all the scanner methods that we have studied in our previous videos. So let me say scanner dot next line. So this will give me the line which is present in this random.txt. And what I'm going to do, I'm just simply going to print this line, scanner.next line. So what the code shall do, it shall go and then read what the text is present in random.text. This is the first line, and it should print it here. So let us run this code. It's building, and you can see this is the first line. So similarly, you can use other scanner methods also. Give it a try yourself. If you face any issues, do let me know in the comments. Now let's see how we can write something to a file using Java. And for that, I'm going to create a PrintWriter object. And for that, let me say PrintWriter. The first argument that I'm going to pass is the file name, random output.txt. As I said, the second argument is optional, but let me pass it as well. This is the character encoding. I'm passing as UTF-8. Now, once we create this PrintWriter object, giving the file name, if the file is not there, then it will create a new file. If the file is there, then it will append the data there when you write something there. So I'm not writing anything. I'm just creating this object, giving this file name, and file is not present. Then this file will be created in this folder quotation. So let me run this code. It's building, and you can see that this random output file is generated, but here nothing will be present. Now let's try to write something in this random output.txt, and for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a string message, and there I'm going to read from our input file, that is random.txt. So whatever was present in that random.txt, I'm using the next line method. I'm storing this in a string variable message. Let me remove this print statement. And as I've created this PrintWriter method, what I'm going to do, PrintWriter.println, and then I'm going to give message. But before that, let me add one more message, like this is output, and then concatenate whatever we had read from the random.txt. Now, after this statement, let me close this PrintWriter object. So what I'm going to do, I have created PrintWriter object which created this file. So this file is already present now, And whatever I have read from this random.txt, which is like this is the first line, that along with this is output, I'm going to append in this random output.txt. I'm using this PrintWriter.println statement, and then I'm closing that object. So now let's run this code. So it's building and process finished. So let's see random output. In the random output, you could see that this is output and this is the first line. This brings us to the end of this tutorial where we learn how to read something from a file using Java or how to write something to a file using Java. If you like the video, please hit the like button, do share it with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel Quotation. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.